horror, documentary, and you. How do you give advice when you yourself are a complete and utter train wreck? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to attempt for you today. Hello, my name is Caitlyn, and welcome to my TED Talk. I've always wanted to say that. You're probably wondering why I'm here and why they let me on stage. Well, so am I. I'm not here to talk about politics because I'd be here for 10 hours. And I'm not here to talk about mental health because, well, I'm a teenage girl and completely unstable. What I am here to talk about, though, is the horror genre and how it affects my life. I was never really a social kid growing up. And it wasn't anything sad or emo. It was just how it was, and it was how I was. I did not have a lot of friends growing up. But those I did have were Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Ellen Ripley from Alien. These were these strong, beautiful women that I grew up looking up to. So me and my dad watched scary movies since I was very young. And by the time I turned 15, I'd gotten old enough to watch The Exorcist, which still took some convincing. It also took some convincing to get my little sister Melissa on board, but soon she warmed up to the horror scene. And so then we would just sit on the couch and we would watch horror movies every Friday, Saturday night. And it was our special thing, and it was how we bonded. And my cousins would come down, and then they would sit on our couch with us, and there'd be 15 of us jammed in my living room yelling at Jason Voorhees to kill those annoying teenagers. Because that's what horror does. When we empathize with the characters, and we can't help but empathize and put ourselves in those situations, our bodies enter fight or flight mode, and we produce adrenaline within ourselves. I mean, it's science, right? So, cut to current day. Me and my best friends, Skyla and Kaya, yes, I do have friends now, thank you for noticing. We'd just be sitting on a couch watching this stupid shark movie and screaming our heads off because it's fun, because horror is an escape that is on not only a physical level, but an emotional level as well. So, cut to present day. It is, well, not present day, but it is Halloween, and for my 18th birthday, we take a trip into downtown Salem, Massachusetts, which is the horror capital of the United States. And we get there, it's nighttime, and it is insane. All the streets are blocked off, there's fog, there's colored lights, everybody's singing to this music that's blasting because there's a stage in the middle of the town square. There's a big carnival down one alley, and there's a giant Ferris wheel down the other alley, and everybody's wearing an insane costume. And it was this group of people who are not usually included in a society, or who are usually used to being on the outskirts of a community. Well, that night, we were the community, and we were all a part of something. And if you were not wearing a crazy costume, then you looked insane. Not the other way around. I think my favorite picture that I took was of Freddy Krueger taking a nap on a park bench. So later that night, after going to this big spooky rave in Salem, we get in the car and we head out and we go to this place that had some mazes. And they had corn mazes because it was a farm. And they had two main mazes. They had the big, scary maze with fog and lights and chainsaws and actors waiting to jump out at you. And they had the not-so-scary maze, which was just a corn maze that you could go through at night with a flashlight, which was great for the family. So guess which one we went to? The not-so-scary maze. No chainsaws for us, thank you very much. We go through the not-so-scary maze, and it was about 45 minutes of walking through corn. I got to hold the flashlight because I was the birthday girl. And I couldn't help but keep looking at the scary maze, which is kind of in the background where all that scary lights and fog is coming from. And my mom must have seen me looking at the scary maze because she comes over to me and she says, "Do you want to do the scary maze?" Now let me tell you something about my mother. My mother would not go see a horror movie if you paid her. But she was feeling the energy and the curiosity of the night, so she herself suggested it. Now, we go back to our group. It's me, my sister Melissa, and Skyla. And this guy who worked there, he comes over. He has like a big black beard. He comes and he sees us looking at the scary maze, and he just goes, "Do you want to do the scary maze?" And we say, "Maybe, yeah." So he says, "Okay, go to the front and ask for Phil." Okay, don't know what that means, but let's do it. We went to the front where the lady was behind a register. She was checking people out. And we said, "We want to do the scary maze," and we were told to ask for Phil. She raised her eyebrows like we were insane, and she disappeared into the back room. And then this other big guy who worked there, he came out, and he said, "You know Phil?" And we're like, "Yeah, yep, we know Phil." He took us back, and he gave us these paper VIP bracelets. And we got to cut the 2-mile line that was leading up to the scary maze. And we were off. And it was crazy because everybody was running around, and there were chainsaws, and there were 5 different Michael Myers running around, and Melissa was flirting with every single one of them. It was insane. And we got out. I survived. And it was a very important experience for me because it was a time in my life where, as a senior, I was beginning the college application process. And it was stressing me out. And after this night, it really did put things in perspective. I thought, if I can get through that, then college doesn't seem so bad. So applying that to my own life, back at school, it's my senior year, and I signed up for a class called Broadcast Journalism class. Now, I wasn't quite sure what that class was going to be, but I found myself on the Maynard High news team. And we had the school news, we had politics, and we had sports. So I thought I should get some entertainment in there. I wasn't sure what I would do. I like scary movies, I guess. So I suggested some sort of horror segment that we could throw in. My teacher, Mr. Ogden, said, "Go for it." So we got together and we created my own segment called Fright Night. I didn't see you there. Come in. I'm about to show you everything you need to know about Halloween through the movies we have been watching together. They're all to die for. Let's do this. Trick or Treat taught us never to blow out a jack-o'-lantern on Halloween night. Scream taught us never to say, "I'll be right back." Chucky, Annabelle, Talking Tina.
You are going to be sorry.
Never get a doll, ever. Never trust a clown. Remember that.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Nightmare on Elm Street taught us to face our fears.
Come on, Freddy.
Please don't trust strangers.
Hello, Charlie.
But most importantly, have fun. Fight back the monsters. Back to the studio. Back to the studio. Oh, back to the studio. So before this, I had never used an actual camera before, and I had never had editing software before. So I would just sit alone for hours at a time teaching myself how to format a script and how to use composition for each of my shots and how to use editing software and fix the audio effects and use visual effects. And I got better at it. And it caught on in my town, and people would come up to me in my school and in the town and tell me that they watched a movie that I talked about on my show with their friends and they had a good time. And if I'm the reason that somebody had a good time, then I'm the happiest little gremlin in the world. So I guess if there's something that I could say to everybody, it would be to open yourselves up. Because I was just a nerd who liked scary movies. But when I wrote down my thoughts and when I talked about what I felt, other people shared my thoughts and they shared what I felt, and doors opened up for me. So if you do have something that you enjoy, if you have a passion or just a weird hobby, you need to share it. If you like to play video games, start a YouTube channel. If you like to write, post it online. If you like art, post that online too and share your art with the world because somebody's going to see it and doors are going to open for you. And if I could say one more thing, it would be that if you do not like horror or horror movies, that's okay. Start off slow. Grab your family, grab a friend, watch The Twilight Zone, watch Poltergeist, hit up Supernatural on Netflix. Horror is a spectrum and it's inclusive and evolving. You don't have to be hardcore Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Watch a scary movie because you could learn a thing or two about courage. Unless you're my best friend Skyla, who did push me into the corn so she could get away from the big man with the chainsaw. Thank you.